Hey guys, Sean here with The Committed Dad, and today we're talking about the Daily Standard. This was originally created and recorded for the first group session of a Committed Dad coaching group. And if you're considering doing the Daily Standard or you're already committed to following through on the 30-day challenge, you're in the right place. So let's get into it. First off, there we go. First off, if you have not already printed the Daily Standard PDF, I highly recommend you have that in front of you. So as we're talking through this, you can look at the tracker, you can look at the standards, you can take notes. Also, you're going to want a piece of notebook paper or scrap paper. We are going to write out a rough draft of your daily stack, which is the order in which you will complete the Daily Standard on a typical day. Welcome to the 4-week. This was done for the founding cohort. So if you're part of that 4-week founding cohort, welcome. A lot of guys see this, the design of this program and think, oh, those are good habits. Like I could develop some better habits. This is not only for developing better habits. This is about building a life with integrity and a life with intention, meaning a life with intention is a life that you design. You proactively decide what your life is going to look like. And then the integrity side is you follow through on it. So you say, these things matter to me, and then you do them. And that's very powerful. And I know I've been in the same situation where I was not following through on the things I wanted to. And to be able to say for 30 days, I stuck to these 6 highly beneficial, impactful, empowering habits for 30 days. And then being able to grow and build on top of that capacity that you've developed, it's a really powerful thing. Another thing that's pretty amazing about the Daily Standard and the 30-day challenge is the compound effect. I like to think if you start something like this or if you start any habit, I'm always thinking, what would this look like in a year? What would this look like if I did it every day for 365 days? So for exercise, if you stick to the Daily Standard and you continue to do it after the 30 days, most guys want to keep doing it. That would be 183 hours of exercise. Think about how different you would look, feel, carry yourself if you followed through on 183 hours of exercise. Same thing, sorry about that. Same thing for eating. Could you imagine how much weight you would lose or muscle you would gain if that's your goal? For reading, how much wisdom you would gain? There are literally life-changing books out there if you implement them. 60 hours of quality time per family member that you maybe weren't going to get this year. Now you get that. They're going to look at you different. They're going to be attracted to you in a sense of like magnetism. Like you're going to be magnetic to the people that you care about most. They are going to be drawn to you when you're in the room, when you enter the house. You're going to have that deep connection with them. 60 hours of prayer and or quiet time or meditation. Being able to find your calm center is really important to leading others. That will help with that. And then reviewing your goals 365 times. And then we also have a level up. So we're talking about the white level today, but we have a higher level that's a blue level, and then finally the black level. When you get into the blue and black level, then we have this standard called key moves. Okay, what's the one key move that will move the needle for you today? That will move you closer to your goals. And every day you do a key move, and that really compounds over time. So something that I shared with the group of dads that I met with earlier today was my swimming journey. I was a swimmer for, I don't know, 2 or 3 years when I was a young kid, around 10 or 11 years old, and then I didn't swim again at all. I mean, maybe at the pool or the ocean, but not competitively, not for further than 25 meters. And last year in February 2025, I decided I was going to do a triathlon. And my biggest weakness is swimming. I just can't swim very far. I started out by just swimming 25 meters at a time. I would swim down and stop and take a 2 or 3 minute break. And I would be huffing and puffing. And all these other seasoned swimmers are around me, and they're all like in their 60s, and like, they're leaner than me, and like just smaller than me. And I must have looked, because I'm built more like a guy who like lifts weights a decent amount. And they're probably looking at me like, what a meathead. And so I swim down really hard, take a breath, take a breath, take a breath, swim back really hard, take a breath, take a breath. And I really just studied it. I didn't get a coach or anything, which can be helpful if you can do that, if you're taking on new things like this, like a personal trainer or something like that. But I knew enough about it, and I watched a lot of YouTube videos on swimming technique and going long distance and triathlons. And over the course of like 6 to 8 months, I was able to hang in there. I could do 40 laps, but not consistently. I would do sets of 4. And then about 2 months ago, I was like, all right, I got to get over this. I'm going to go further. I'm going to do 6 laps unbroken. And then a week or two later, I did 8 laps, and then 12 laps. And then I got in this situation where I had to circle swim with 2 other guys. This was about 2 weeks ago. And I think 12 laps is amazing, by the way. I'm like telling my wife when I get home, I'm like, I did 12 laps today. I did 12 laps twice today, 2 sets. It was awesome. And I'm in the situation where I have to circle swim. So that's when there's 3 or more people swimming in a lane, and you just go down and back, and you stay to the right the whole time. And I'm like, all right, I'm not going to let these guys pass me. I'm going to go unbroken as long as I can. And it's awesome when you're in a group how motivating it can be. And I go and I lose track of how many laps I did. And I finish and I look at my watch, and I did 18 unbroken laps. My watch can track how many laps I do. And I was like, this is awesome, 18 laps. And then the following week, I'm like, I did 18. Like, what if I just go nonstop for 20 minutes, don't look at my watch, don't count, anything like that? And I actually did 32 laps unbroken last week. And this was like and about a year ago I started in February, and I went from they call it a lap if you go down. I went from 1 lap to 32 laps unbroken, but I made most of my gains in the last 2 months. So keep that in mind when you're doing this work. If you're not getting immediate results, that there's this compound effect that occurs. If you exercise and eat right, like, you're probably going to lose some weight right away because your body's not used to it. You're going to get stronger right away because your body's like, whoa, look at us doing this again, right? It's going to come back, especially if you've lifted in the past or you did strength training in the past. But the reading and even the relationship stuff and the meditation, you might not have a big breakthrough where you notice it for a while. So just keep that in mind. The compound effect is this beautiful thing where over time you just become more and more efficient, and you just have bigger and bigger breakthroughs. And it is more impressive over time and motivating. So just keep that in mind. All right, the agenda for today. Why the daily standard matters, what they are and are not, how to execute them in real life, what are some examples, and then build your daily stack. That's the order in which you're going to approach this. That is essential to being successful at this. You can't just print the packet and show up on Monday morning and be like, all right, let me just start throwing this stuff together, right? You have to have a plan, and you need to be set up to be able to execute. So things like, all right, where are you going to exercise? Oh, you need a membership? Okay, go sign up. All right, what you need gym clothes? Are you going to bring a gym bag? Are you going to like where the gym clothes going to be? Lay your gym clothes out every morning. I actually pack my bag the afternoon or sometimes even the morning the day before. I come home from my workout, I throw the dirty clothes in the laundry, and then I pack my bag and I put it by the door every day. So you need to start creating those systems and commit. The last step is committing. All right, these are some group expectations. I am just going to read through them. Okay, I'm not going to get crazy into these on this recording. We did as a group, but I'm not going to get into it too much. Number one, for personal growth to be successful, you have to take ownership. You might have some hardships. Your kids might be a super pain in the butt. Your wife maybe is a super pain in the butt. Don't tell her I said that. You might have some environmental, some issue around you, right, with your life that's happening. You might have sick relatives or something like that kind of pops up. It's pretty extreme. You got to be there for people, right? And that's fine. We're going to move the needle for you as much as we can under the circumstances. All right, you need to take ownership. You need to make the best of it and make it happen. All right. Number two, execute between sessions. It is your responsibility to be proactive and to take action every single day. If you're in our group cohort, we're going to have a WhatsApp group. We help each other. We remind each other. We talk about best practices, successes. We build a lot of momentum together. So you're going to want to be on that group. Let me know if you're not in the WhatsApp group. We start for the founding cohort on Monday, we start the WhatsApp group. Be fully present. So if your screen is off because you're driving and you don't want to distract us, that's fine. I know some of our jobs require us to be driving. And if that means you can still attend our group sessions during this time, but you're driving with the camera off, but you are listening, and then you maybe pop on sometimes to ask a question and contribute, and you're fully engaged, I'm comfortable with that. However, I will say you will get the most out of this if you are at a desk, at a table, facing your computer, taking notes on the side, taking notes on your computer, and you're fully engaged. All right, next up, confidentiality is non-negotiable. It is incredibly difficult to grow, to make personal growth, if you don't feel comfortable and you don't trust the group you're talking to. So we 100% respect everyone's confidentiality. What is said here stays here. Number 5, be direct. Stay on topic. This is not the place for long stories. This is not the place for you to go on and on about the past. I have a lot of respect for therapy, and I think there's a place for therapy. Therapy is where you spend a lot of time going over and uncovering the past. This is coaching, and this is about moving you forward and moving you forward quickly. This is solutions oriented, and it's faster. We move faster. All right. So that brings us to the third one there, move the needle. Always think, is what I'm saying going to help myself and others move the needle? Are we going to move closer to our goals by asking this question, sharing this strategy, or this example? All right, why it matters. The Daily Standard is about building capacity. This is the first 4 weeks of a 12-week program. This is all about building the muscle of integrity. This is all about building momentum and stabilizing your energy, increasing your focus, having a strong presence at home, right? If you're connecting every day with all your family members, and then in a month or two, you have this vision and goals and you're asking them to be part of that, to follow through on some of these plans that you have, right? You're going to want to invest in the connection now with them. This will also help you reduce the chaos. I think you guys know what I'm talking about. There's some internal chaos, all these open loops, all these tasks you got to do, all these different responsibilities and you're being pulled in all these different directions, this program will help with that. Okay, it's about calming that. I like to take care of my priorities that are my priorities at the beginning of the day. So when I come home and it's time for me to take the kids to school, I've already completed 80% of my personal priorities. And then also your external chaos. And finally, the most important thing is we're building this muscle of intention and integrity. We're building internal trust in yourself. This is a you thing, your relationship with yourself. The founding cohort starts their daily challenge, their daily standard challenge on Monday, February 16th, this Monday, and we're going to go till March 17th. All right, you have 4 days to prepare from today. And what I mean by that is start testing, start eating new foods, start doing the workouts, start packing your bag for the workouts, start writing your goals down, start reading. Even if you do 10 minutes a day, do a little bit. I think that's a great way to do it. Say, hey, I'm going to do the 6 daily standards, but I'm only going to do like a piece of it. Just touch them, right? Like a touch. Like, all right, I'm going to exercise for 10 minutes. I'm not exercising every day, so I'll do 10 minutes until Monday. I'll do 10 minutes of reading. I'll do 5 minutes of meditating. Whatever you can do right now, I would play around with it, experiment before we're in it. Sweat. All right, now we're getting into the 6 daily standards. The first one, most important in my mind, is exercise. If I had to pick one habit to stick to, it would be exercise. And it's not because I want to look good, although that's like a nice side effect. It helps me with my energy. It helps me with my anxiety. It helps me stay calm, stay focused. It makes me feel like I already achieved something. And, there's something to be said for pushing your body to the limits and your mindset, and coming out on top, right? Pushing yourself past what you thought you were capable of, and you come out on top. And then you step into the rest of your day like that, you're going to be unstoppable. So intentional movement, break a sweat, or challenge your body. I will admit there's been some days when I lifted, if the room is a little cold and I'm taking 2 to 3 minutes of breaks in between reps, where I didn't break like a visible sweat, right? I probably did somewhere, but I didn't notice. So as long as you are challenging yourself for 30 minutes physically, that counts to me. A brisk walk is the minimum. So that's not a stroll. It's not like, oh, I'm taking some phone calls and texting people and stopping here and stopping there. It needs to be where like you're watching your pace and you're trying to push your pace. Like you got to kind of pay attention, and put in a little extra effort. You're not just like chilling out. Okay? That's the minimum. So I would highly recommend, if you are lifting or doing like more intense cardio, like biking, running, rowing, swimming, then I would highly recommend you do add some rest days, right? Every 3-4 days you have a rest day. I have a rest day once a week, but I'm not lifting and doing the swimming and running and rowing for like an hour every day. I'm actually getting like 30 to 45 minutes in every day. So it's not super extensive. And then I usually do a small walk in the afternoon if possible, every day. So I'm doing both of those. Figure out what works for you. If it's just a brisk walk every day for 30 days, awesome. Because you're going to build that muscle. And eventually you're going to get sick of the walk and you're going to start running or adding other things to it. Non-examples: walking casually, strolling, walking and talking on your phone, the texting, the notes, like I mentioned, weightlifting with long breaks, right? Maybe you're listening to a video and you're like, and I've been there, where I'm like looking, I'm like, oh, let me see what he's talking about. And you start looking at the video. You don't want to be scrolling during your weightlifting session. When I'm doing the 30 days, I only listen to music during my lifting sessions because I want to get as much out of the lifting session as possible. I am lifting. That's the primary thing I'm doing. The music keeps me motivated and moving and just kind of pumps me up. All right. I love podcasts. I love videos, like longer educational videos on YouTube. I'm cutting those out. I cut those out when I do challenges like this. Otherwise, you're too casual. All right. Number 2, fuel. Log your food daily. I use MyFitnessPal. I think some people use Livestrong. Once you start logging it, it saves it, and you can just add it every morning. I personally eat almost the same stuff every day, except for dinner. My wife makes our dinners, and I eat whatever she gives us, and I'm very happy for that. And I just figure it out at dinner time what that is. All right, so I log it every meal, or even in the morning. I log it all. That is a great way. It works for me. I don't know if it'll work for everyone. But logging all your food at the beginning of the day is a great way to say, this is what you're eating, and that's it. Nothing else is acceptable. And you log it, and it's like, it's almost forecasting your future at the end of the day. You'll see what all your protein... I track my grams of protein per day and my calories. So I'll see that and I'm like, oh, I'm hitting my goal already today. If I stick to this, and I do stick to it. If I ever log it, I stick to it. That's just how I am. Unless like something dramatic happens, like our plans totally change for dinner. So very often I'll log the day in the morning because it's predictable enough to do that. If you're not in that situation, I recommend you log at least your first meal in the morning when you're reviewing your goals. You'll see how I do it to make it easier on yourself. And you definitely want to, log breakfast. So eat breakfast, log your food. Should become very automatic after a while. The second thing is you need to hit your nutrition goals. You can keep this so simple. You can say, hey, I have a calorie max. I'm not going to go over 3,000 calories. And that's a decent amount of calories. All right. I've had diets where the first week you eat like 1,500. It's pretty challenging. Right now I do 2,500. I don't eat as much as I think people expect me to. I'm 220, 221 right now. And my body on 2,500 calories, I'm losing a little bit of weight each week. But I still feel good. I'm not like craving. I have plenty of energy. So that's my sweet spot. You got to figure out what your sweet spot is. I also have a protein goal of 175 grams of protein every day. That's something that's manageable for me. I know a lot of guys, that's a stretch. So you might want to do like 150 or 140 and see where you're at. Okay? If you want to stick to one of these other diets, that's perfectly fine. Okay, it's whatever works for you. I just care that you're sticking to a diet and you're logging your food. That is so informative, and it will impact you. You'll start changing your habits just by seeing the food logged, even if it's bad food that you log. Reading. Read a book for 30 minutes every day. It's pretty straightforward. Paper copy is best. We will accept for the white level an audiobook. I know that 30 minutes, it's better if you say 10 pages, because then you have to get the 10 pages done and you know you're getting an exact outcome, right? However, for the white level, we're going with 30 minutes because we're trying to build that muscle of, all right, I dedicate 30 minutes of time to reading. Next level up, then we start having page requirements to hold you accountable to doing some quality reading. All right. I have a problem where I'm too high quality. I'm like taking notes in the book. I'm writing notes in a journal, right? So that's where I have to make some growth. Like I overanalyze everything. So 30 minutes, set your timer. I set a timer right on my watch When it goes off, I'm done, or I finish up that page or whatever I'm reading. Avoid listening to audiobooks and walking at the same time. When I'm doing the 30-day challenge, I don't count that. To me, that's not, you're doing two priorities at the same time, and you're gonna take away from the quality. So I try not to do that. I will listen to a podcast, but the rule is I can't stop and text and do anything. Like I like write myself notes sometimes. Nope. So listen to a podcast that you can just listen to and kind of almost like zone out, like go on cruise control and walk your butt off. All right. Walking is the priority when you're walking. Listen to music. I take phone calls if and only if you're going to keep that brisk walk. Like when I take phone calls, I'm like, yeah, I'm like, this is badass. I'm taking phone calls and like checking things off my to-do list, and I'm walking fast. Like they can hear it that I'm walking because I walk quick. So you got to make sure you're keeping your pace up. But I highly recommend you separate those things. So why reading? We talked about this as a group. Why do you think reading is a part of this? I think there's this, like reading books has become outdated in a sense. It's like, oh, that's what teachers made me do or professors made me do. And, you know, people had some really high quality answers. One of the best answers that I heard was, it's time away from like all of the other chaos in the world. You can kind of go into your own space. And when you're reading and you're thinking about expanding yourself and growing, and that's your selection. That's your time. I love that. I think that's a phenomenal answer. And this is about doing things with intention and following through. And that answer is 100% aligned with that. What I mentioned is this idea that books are the highest return on investment in personal growth. Someone spent a lot of time curating their best beliefs, their strongest beliefs. That's the difference between high performers and low performers. It's not some magical skill or some external like advantage. They think differently, and they took all of their best thoughts, all of their best practices, and put it into this book that you can read in 8 hours, and you can learn from the best in 8 hours. Now, you're not going to be like them, right? Because you need to have the experience and you need to practice the skills and the muscles, the mental muscle. And also, like, they can't fit everything in that book, but you are going to get so much information from that book that's going to benefit you. And this is about picking a book that helps you improve nonfiction or personal growth, and it helps you develop a skill that you are working on, a meaningful pursuit. If you have a YouTube channel on sewing, it could be about sewing. It could be about having a YouTube channel. It could be about confidence. It could be about public speaking. It could be about engaging your audience or storytelling. Whatever contributes to that meaningful pursuit, whatever you think is going to move the needle for you and give you an advantage, that's what you should read. So I don't assign books for that reason. I have suggestions I can make based on the daily standard, like things related to that, habits and follow through and execution. But I want you to pick a book that is related to your meaningful pursuit right now, and it is one of the best returns on investment. That's why we read. The most successful people in the world, and you can define success in a lot of different ways, but they're successful at whatever it is that you think is success. I guarantee they read a lot. Guarantee it. So how do you go about picking your books? I like to just go to AI and put in a prompt like this. What are the top 10 books on, I just gave an example, lifting for beginners? Give me the pros and cons of each book and a brief 1-paragraph summary. Rank them from most effective to least effective, which is kind of vague, but usually AI can come up with a good, like what is effective or not. And look at those books. narrow it down to 2 or 3, and then you can keep working with AI to decide. Give me a summary of each paragraph, of each chapter. Give me the pros and cons. This is my main goal. Which book is better for that? And figure out what you want to read. This is not, this was a quick list I put together. All right, so don't go crazy scrutinizing this. I tried to go for variety here. But if you're doing the daily standard, I personally think ownership is one of the most important things. I know Jocko is a little, if you've seen clips of him on social media, you might think like, oh, he's just some alpha tough guy. He, especially with that voice, right? And the eyebrows, his leadership style is much more humble and humble. I think humble is a great way to describe it. Thoughtful, reflective, mature. His leadership skills are phenomenal, and the practices that he preaches. And it's a highly engaging story that he also tells throughout the book. So I wouldn't discount it. Atomic Habits, very straightforward. Some of the habits might not be the same as what we're doing, but you will get so many strategies and practices for installing new habits into your life. Compound Effect is all about doing these daily habits and the results you can get over time from that investment. All right. And that one's a little bit more plain. Okay. Iron Cowboy, not plain. If you're looking for something that's entertaining, motivating, and is all about beliefs, mindset, and pushing through, and resilience and grit, the Iron Cowboy is very interesting. I read it as part of a group, and I actually loved it. I didn't think it would be like practical enough for me. I like tactical, but that was a great read. All right. And there's a lot of others that you could read too. Connect. 10 minutes, one-on-one time, each family member. No phones is the number one thing. I follow this parenting coach, and I took like this little mini course for parents, and the first activity that she describes for building relationships with your kids and for overcoming some of these challenges, I think it was actually like on entitlement, like how do you address entitlement with kids, which like for a lot of suburban families, like this is a challenge, right? A lot of things like our kids have a lot of things given to them. And it's like, how do you build gratitude and appreciation for those things versus entitlement? And the first activity she said was basically 10 minutes, no phone in the room. Spend 10 minutes with your kid, no phone in the room. Just do that. It wasn't some fancy question or activity or anything. It was straight up remove the phone. So no phones is the number one rule, with 1 or 2 exceptions, which I'll give you. All right. But it's all about the intent. The intent is one-on-one connection, interaction. Talking in the car, excellent time. They're trapped. They can't get away from you. Have an intentional conversation with them. I've had some of my best moments with my son in the car. We drop my daughter off at daycare, and on the way back home, it's just him and I, and we have really great conversations sometimes, about a lot of things. In bed, at the table, on the floor. My daughter's 4, so playtime on the floor, wonderful. On a walk, you just go on a walk together. My son loves night walks. Play non-screen games, puzzles, build something. Sports, exercise, dance together. We have a lot of dance parties in my house. My daughter also loves doing YouTube dance class. And yeah, I jump in and I do the ballet stuff with her. Journaling activities. My son's a little older now. He can reflect on his day, so we do an evening journaling activity. And it's the prompts are, what are you grateful for? What's one success, your biggest lesson from the day? What's one adjustment you want to make for tomorrow? Do something different. And then we share out with each other and we talk about it. Art Hub is awesome for really. I create some really great pieces of art from watching Art Hub videos because they step by step show you how to draw these cartoons. Crafting, create a video together, design something on paper or a laptop, curating a playlist. My son loves music, so recently I showed him how to make playlists and he plays the music and we talk about it. It's a great way to bond and connect. Non examples: watching TV, movies, videos, or playing video games. Now, I will admit, I play video games with my son because that's what he loves. So I'm investing in his interest. And you might have to do that, especially with older kids, to get them invested in whatever activity you're coming up with, right? I recommend you come up with an activity together, right? If you're not doing this a lot, I would recommend you come up with an activity. You let him know, like, hey, or her, this is a new thing I'm doing. I'm putting in more time and effort into the people that I care about, including you. And I want to spend more time connecting with you and having great experiences with you. Here's a list of some things we could do. Do you like any of those, or do you have any ideas of what you would enjoy doing? And and you also want to explain the value of not having technology be a part of it. Some other non-examples: sitting together while scrolling on your phone, obviously. No answering texts or emails. Multitasking, right? Being productive, like doing tasks, while you're supposed to be interacting with your family member. Not good. This one's great as a thing to avoid with your wife. Productive talk or logistical talk. Talking about the next day, problem solving. I think talking about your kids and like things they're going through and how to help them, and I think that's a connection because you're both going through that experience, and parenting's challenging. So to me, like when my wife and I lay in bed at night and have a conversation, it ends up very often being connected to the kids. So that's one that, there's a little bit of gray area. And I'll admit, connectedness is the grayest area of them all. All right? It's hard to quantify and measure quality time. All right? So you got to really, if anything is in the gray, I don't count it. If it's a little, I don't know, I don't count it personally. I make sure it 100% counts. Running errands together, unless you're having a really strong conversation. There's times when I just blast music and we have fun and we go crazy, like me and my two kids. I don't count that though, right? Because that's not as deep and meaningful. We're connecting, but I don't personally count that, and it's both of them usually. All right. Stillness. This one's pretty straightforward. Some type of meditation, prayer, visualization. I would say in general, if you're closing your eyes and it's quiet and you're just with your thoughts or lack of thoughts, right? Sometimes meditating is thinking about nothing. You don't have to do that at all. But there's plenty of apps, plenty of resources out there. I pray daily. I also spend a lot of time meditating. I have certain prompts that I think about. How can I better serve other people? How can I better serve my family? Those are things that are kind of always on my mind, and those are prompts that I have in my head that I'm thinking about. One that you might not think of is I actually do this often in the sauna, steam room, or hot tub, and I count it because my eyes are closed. I don't even notice if there's people around me very often. People come and go, and I don't even notice. You just need to be in your head, calm and grounded. Now, the benefit of that, let me tell you the benefit quick, is that when you're not going to perfect your emotions here, all right, or your spirituality, but you are going to build a deeper connection with yourself. And you're going to find your center, your calmness. When you get calm, you're going to be able to get back to that faster. So I'll be honest, a year or two ago, it was maybe 3 years ago, very easy to set me off, and I would be angry for a decent amount of time. Now, I might get elevated in my emotions, and I see it coming, and I can communicate it to my kids. I tell my son, like, I'm getting elevated. I need you to, like, give me some space. Okay, you're asking me a lot at once. Take it easy. I might even take a step out. I had to take a step outside a few weeks ago. My son was being very loud and unreasonable, so I had to step out. Less than a minute, like 30 seconds. Came back in, and I was solid. Handled it. So it's about getting back to center faster. It's not about eliminating emotions, right? That's just not going to happen. Or at least I haven't gotten there. Review your goals. Very straightforward. Come up with 3 to 10 annual goals for yourself. I really, at this stage in the first 4 weeks, I don't stress about you like perfecting them, because I know they're going to change. Every week you're going to revise them, and you're going to make them better and better and better and better. If you're not doing this for yourself already, if this is a new skill, then you're going to keep revising it. So do not stress about having perfect goals. That's almost like a little bit of a waste of time. Like, come up with some in 10, 20 minutes. Cool. Write them down every day or read them every day. I like writing my goals every day. I rewrite them. I have a journal, and I rewrite them every single day. I also write down my daily standard every day, and I check it off. So I like it. It sounded ridiculous when I had a coach tell me he wrote his goals down every day. I know how silly that sounds. You're like, that is unnecessary. The power is writing things is powerful. If you write it, it's more likely you're going to follow through on that, just statistically. And it forces you to review your goals. It's easier to skip that if you just read it off your phone. Because my goals are on my phone too. But if I write them every day, you know you've started when you start writing, and you know you're done reviewing when you're done writing them. There's a clear start and end, and you know you did it. And then I start checking them off. I start checking off my daily standards after I write them as well. I write my daily goals on one side and my daily standard, annual goals on one side and daily standard on the right side. And then I start checking off the boxes as I complete them in the morning. All right. That's it. Those are the 6 daily standards. Now let's get into the daily stack. This is the idea that you want to stack your habits. Habit stacking is probably something you've heard. I believe this was originally spoken about when you take a new habit and you combine it with an old one, or one that you already have. I think that's the original intent behind habit stacking. I just like this phrase daily stack because I think of I think of just a stack of pancakes, or if you've heard of a tech stack where you have like certain technology, software and applications that you use, your tech stack, to do your job. So you might have like 4 different applications you use to get your job done every day. So it's kind of along those lines. It's in what order, at what time of day are you executing your daily standards? I do a bigger morning stack. That works for me. I wake up at 4:45. I'm on the road by 5 a.m. I go to Starbucks because that's where I can really focus. Otherwise, if I'm home, if one of the kids wakes up, that's it. I'm done. Then I'm taking care of the kids. So I prefer to stack them early in the morning. All right. Some people might do a split stack, we're calling it, where you do some in the morning, some at lunch maybe, some late afternoon, some at night, or maybe you do morning and night. pretty much everyone's going to have to split it up a little bit, but I get 70% of my stuff done before 7:30. Some people are night owls. They're going to sleep in more, and then they're going to do their stack at night. And that's totally fine. It's whatever works for you. Here's an example of what I do. So I get my stillness in right away. I write my goals, and then I check those things off. Okay, stillness, check. Reviewed my goals, check. I log my first meal, and I actually check it at that time. And then I come back and I make sure I do it all. Read, check. I check it before I do it because I'm right there. The book's coming out. And then I check my workout because when I leave Starbucks, I go straight to the gym. It's going to happen. And I feel like when you check it off, there's like no negotiating at all. You're like, no, I checked it off. I got to go. So make sure you're going to follow through, though. You come back at night and you make sure you checked everything off. Then a lot of this looks like a lot later on, but it's really just my family time. It's 10 minutes with Melissa. I have a second workout as a safety net. Sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't. Depends on my timing, but I like to get 2 little mini workouts in. I am taking my son to the gym to work out some days. Otherwise, we're doing homework together or some other type of quality time. Floor time with my daughter. And then I put Qless. We love Qless. It's kind of like the new Scrabble. I just put that down with my wife. I also have a safety net of like one-on-one time at bedtime. So we just chat in bed. All right. So do this for yourself. Create your daily stack. Take 5 minutes. Just get a draft going for now. Okay. I recommend you do it right now. And you don't even have to come up with specific times. You could be like, I'm going to start with this one at 5 a.m. and then just kind of list all the things you're going to do in what order. You could even do morning, I'm doing these 3 things. Lunchtime, these 2 things. After dinner, these 2 things. Create a stack for yourself. It's a schedule. I just like the daily stack because it encourages you to do them back to back. They should be back to back, as many as possible. It helps build momentum and consistency. Potential obstacles. You need to have contingency plans if shit hits the fan. Create a foolproof system so when you're tired, especially if you do early morning stuff, everything is laid out for me. It's foolproof. I just brush my teeth, go to the bathroom, put some clothes on, grab my bags, walk out the door. You make it as easy on yourself as possible in the morning. At the gym, I got a locker with all my stuff in it. All the shampoo, lotion, hair stuff. I shave at the gym. I got this whole system that's set up so I'm super efficient. And remember, daily success starts the night before. Set everything up the night before. Go to bed on time. That's going to lead to a successful next day. The salvage plan. We're almost there. We got one more slide. The salvage plan is just a plan if the shit hits the fan and you really need to get it in and the clock's ticking, bedtime's around the corner. What are you going to do to save the day? Are you going to walk and do an audiobook? Right? You could get away with putting them together, but remember, no breaks, no stopping, no texting, no taking notes, none of that. Brisk walk, listening to your book. Are you going to bribe family members to talk to you? Right? What's it look like if you have to get a final 10 minutes in with each family member, right? What's that look like? Go sit in your car for 10 minutes and take a meditating break, right? I've done it. Okay, whatever you got to do to get away, to have some quiet space. In my house is hard. My kids find me. They find me. They hunt me down. All right. Last thing, next steps. For those of you in the founding cohort, make sure you're completing your time and energy audit and bringing it to your first one-on-one session. Make sure you're preparing a plan of attack, your detailed daily stack. I'm recommending you do a rough draft here today, but you need to have a very specific plan for each thing and like what is it going to look like when you do it. Schedule your one-on-one session with me if you have not already. We start our WhatsApp group on Monday, and then that's it. DM me, text me if you have any questions.